Hello guys. I did not finish the chicken shed. I still got the cement, and we're going to do the cement pretty quick. But yesterday I had to do some other things the day before, and I just never got around to doing the cement. But we did get the door on, and it just closes like that, and nothing real fancy. Right now I just have some cardboard houses. They're 2 or 3 layers of cardboard, and it's well insulated so they can go in at night. But it's getting warmer now. They don't even really need that. But they outgrew the little one, so I had to make another one that's a little bit bigger and spacious. And then I'm going to end up making wooden boxes around the top, and of course making a roof. This is my makeshift temporarily where I'm going to put my solar panel. I mean, it was very temporary. But I have to figure out where to put it where I get sunshine. And it ain't too far, you know, to run the cable. Because I ain't going to run the cable 100 feet or anything. And there's trees all around here, so it was kind of difficult trying to find the right, you know. So here this was a spot out of the way, and I just put it up there for now. So that's running 12 volts over here to the battery, and all it really does at the moment is charge my phone. And this is the regulator, and it makes sure that it charges everything correctly. And so I am going to, well, where's all the chickies? They're all running around. I'm going to give them a handful of food, make sure they got water and stuff, and then I'm going to take a little walk. And I thought today, that chicken way over there. There's chickens way over there. Another one over there, but way behind the tree. I got chickens all over the yard here. So we're going to go on a walk and look at some bigger rocks this time, some real big cliffs. Those cliffs that I was saying, what are those white cliffs above my property I'd never seen before? And, okay. There's some of the other chickies. Well, they were there. I don't see them now. Oh, they're back in there. Anywho, I don't know if you've seen him. But Buster's got his toy, and it looks like Mr. Fluffy wants the toy. What do you want? They ain't scared. These dogs, they don't bother the chickens at all. They're brothers and sisters now. Oh, there's some over there. One of them looks like he's bedding down. No, that's grass, huh? Yeah, anyway. Let's take a walk, guys. Alright, well, we'll head up the mountain here. I'll show you where we're going. We're going that way. Probably right up through there. And then we're going to go up and around. And we're going to hopefully come to those big cliffs and take a look. So, we're going up that way. And I'm going to be walking in a specific spot so that this will be the trail. That's my new outhouse out of some old lumber I found just lying around, just some old gray lumber. So we got an outhouse now, and I put it up there. It's neat. I'm gonna put a sign on it and stuff like that, you know. And I'm gonna have a trail going through through there. It's gonna be neat, I think. Anyway. Alright. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to play we go. So I think this is gonna be my trail. And I'm gonna literally come over here and make it a trail. Maybe put steps in here and there when you need it. And when you get to here, you'll be able to go that way into the cave, or continue to go on this way all the way up to the top. If you'd rather go that way. All right. I'm gonna turn this off for a minute. When we get up there, I'll turn it back on. Oh, I had to turn it back on real quick because I wanted to show you the yucca is blooming here on the top of my property. It's only been a few days and there it is. And there it is, 3 rattles on the button. It's blooming. I mean, they're not fully bloomed yet. They're starting to bloom. They get tall, some of them. So, it's up through there. We're going to go across to those big cliffs. I see another kind of flower that's starting to bloom. They're not really all bloomed out yet, but they're coming. Little yellow flowers. I don't know exactly what kind. Okay, I'm gonna take off. I'm just getting a feel, but I think if we go this way, we'll come to those cliffs. Maybe, I don't know. That's the way I'm going. I see these. This isn't sagebrush. This is a different kind of brush that grows, and I'm not sure the name of that kind. There's some little daisies and some little red ones. Pretty. These little white buttercups, I don't know what kind they are, but oh, look at that. Even the grass is pretty to me. Don't step on them. Look at how pretty. Oh, you know what those are? That's those purple things, and they bloomed into big, or it's, well, maybe not. No, honey. It's a camera. It's not the same flower, but it looks like it. Because there's some purple and stuff, so I thought it was, but okay. Wow. I'm told that as summer comes on, there's more and more flowers until it's just like flowers. Sometimes there's a whole field of just nothing but yellow flowers or something. So we'll see. But we're gonna go this way. What I heard, what I'll do is I'll follow these cliffs here, that way. And that maybe will get me where I'm going. That might be the same cliffs. I found out how they're going to do it, guys. This is big. You'll hear this today or tomorrow somewhere else. This is going to start going viral. And it's so clever. I can't believe these guys. I can't believe it. And it tells a lot about what they've been doing, and we just never pay attention. You see, they don't want us to get upset and start having honest to goodness grassroots riots. Honest to goodness protests, real protests. These are all the other protests that they give us that we see are all fake. somebody off in the distance with a four-wheeler or something. So I'm trying to stay away from people. Way off in the distance. There's a little cliffs over there. Love it. So anyway, I figured out how they're going to do this to where, you know, how you put a frog in warm water and put it on the fire until it gets boiling, they don't notice it. So I thought, well, how are they going to spring this on us? No more cash. No more garage sales. You can't have, people are not going to allow for that. They're going to like, we want our cash, right? Now they did it in Africa and they just forced them into starvation. But I don't think they get away with it here because we have lawyers. Some of the lawyers, I mean, law is still the law. I mean, they can manipulate things pretty good. I mean, they don't even have to go by the law. So yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I don't think they'd want people really getting pissed off when they just blatantly started having police walk up to your door, ring the bell, and you come to the door and they just pow, slap you for no reason, you know, no warrant, nothing. I mean, practically they've been doing that, just getting us ready as far as they could go. I mean, it's like you can push somebody quite a ways, but at some point that person's going to be pushing back, even if it means their life, because they're scared. Nobody wants to fight, but if you push them to that point, they'll give it most of what they got. Some people will give it all they got, and they don't really want to fight like that. They want it to go smooth. If people really start getting pissed, they wouldn't be able to hold back the tidal wave of anger. So they can't just announce. And I was thinking, how are they going to do this? Because this is what, you know, this is what they're going to do. We're going cashless within, you know, weeks, months, probably weeks. Very, very likely, very soon. So how are they going to pull this off? Because we're going to be really upset when we can't have garage sales and we're controlled and they can monitor everything. So they probably think, well, listen, the people want cash, but we can't give them cash because you can't monitor cash, right? There's no chip in the cash. We could say you have to have a card, but that's cashless. That way you have to have money in your account, and we can track and we can control everything. That's what we want. But the people are going to like, wow, we don't want that control. We want cash. So they'll say, hey, let's give them cash. They're going to continue to give us cash. They're going to produce. See, they did this in Africa too. They printed some sort of coupons or whatever. They look like money. You know, just based cashier checks or whatever. Oh, look. We're coming around to where I think I'm going. I don't really know. But they would only issue, in Africa, in this country, they only issued them $40 a week or something. They needed like $40 a day to live, to start starving to death, so they had to go to the system. I was thinking, I just don't know how that's going to work out here in the United States. People are going to get pretty pissed. And yeah, they could do it to us. They could just all force us. But I don't think they're allowed to, on a worldwide scale, force people to do things. Even in Africa, they didn't force anybody. They just pressured them until they finally relented. So here's what they're going to do. I just found this out. This is so amazing. They're going to give us cash. I don't know if it'll be the same old green dollar back or not, but they're going to give us some cash. But in order to buy anything, it'll still be a cashless society. But you'll be able to go and get these coupons that represent cash. There's that volcano where I wanted to go, where we actually tried to go the other day. Went the back way and couldn't get there. It's like Mount St. Helens or something. There's a big old hole in the middle, and you can go down in there. There's even like a cave or something down in there. There's ice caves over there. So what you'll do is they call them reverse ATMs. You take your cash that they issue you. So you think, oh, well, this ain't bad. I can get cash, right? We can have garage sales. You can trade your little coupons, but eventually those coupons, if you're going to purchase something in the store, you have to put them in, you know, just like at Walmart where you put your cash in and it reads it, you know, like a money machine. Well, you put your $50 or $100 cash in there, Probably just use the regular old green dollar backs. And then you're issued a little temporary debit card for that amount of money, for $100. They probably take $3 for the transaction or something like that, or 10 or whatever. So they're going to be making something off the deal. The price for you to pay with cash is going to cost you 10% or something. To pay for the ATM machine, that's what they'll say. And so you'll have your cash, but here's the thing. You'll take your cash, and before you can use your cash, you have to turn it into a debit card, which will track you. So they're still getting all the control. They'll track you. They'll know everything you're buying and purchasing, but you'll have the illusion of having cash. So everybody will get reverse debit, reverse, just put their cash in, get some money racked up on their card, and then go buy something with it. So they can still control you. It's no different. But this is how they'll appease the people, the masses. Now, most people aren't going to really like it still. It's not going to be like good enough, but it'll be just good enough that they'll be able to swing it. And then after a very short time, I would imagine they'll get rid of the cash as well, because people get used to using it, their debit for buying everything and no cash and stuff. And it'll get less and less necessary. A few hermits in the mountains or something will try. Oh, there they are. Here's where I'm going. Across there, somewhere between here and there. Probably within 6 months to a year, there'll be no more cash at all. But they'll transition us that way. And you won't own any property, and you'll like it. Yeah. So then I saw this other show this morning. All this morning. How are we going to get through here now? And it was Tucker Carlson. Boy, he's telling us the whole truth, isn't he? Well, this is what they've decided they're going to start telling you some things now. Because it's over, guys. You're done. You get the noose out there in the town square, and you're waiting in the jail cell. The prison guard's coming. There's nothing you can do. You're done. You are absolutely done. There's absolutely nothing you can do. So, you know, the only time you need to keep secrets is before it goes to jury. Once the jury's done, they made their verdict, you're going to die. And that's been done. There's some elk poop. Elk poo-poo. So, Tucker was saying that he showed that Berg lady, get it? And Mikovits, these are the people that gave us the, and now they're all like, oh, didn't work. Now Berg's out there saying, I knew that it wasn't going to work. She said, that don't work, and I knew that. When I told you guys to do it, I knew it. I knew it wouldn't work. So we forced y'all, closed down society, and Lady Berg, the scientist or whatever, she knew. They all knew. Fauci says now, they showed a quote of him saying, that we don't know. We need more research to find out if it worked. He's not sure if it works or didn't work. Well, you forced everybody, tell them they would lose their jobs unless they did it. And now you're saying you're not sure. That's pretty bad. So here was Tucker telling us the whole lowdown. And then he said, by the way, all these other drugs you've been taking for 50 years, 60, 70 years, whatever it's been, they didn't work either. This idea, the premise that you had a chemical imbalance, that's been proven wrong. they now have proven, beyond a doubt, that nobody gets chemical imbalances. And he says, and they're still selling it to you, and you're still buying it. Well, what he didn't tell you is that this started back in kindergarten. You know, just when they invented kindergarten. You know, Project Paperclip, remember that? From the NAZ, you know, can't spell the whole thing. One letter remaining. Oh, here's where we're going. Yeah, probably. Yeah. But first, let's see what kind of cave we got here. What the heck? Or where? Or over here. Okay. So, yeah, then they required the children to get this thing. Well, friends, everything that they've been trying to get us to do has always been an HOA, leaving out the last letter, which is X. Everything. But it's worse than that. You weren't really forced. You could homeschool, or you could just say no and go get some kind of religious exemption or something, but it was very difficult. They intimidated you. They lied. Sometimes they would take your children away if you were on government assistance or something. If they felt that there was some legal reason, like maybe you were unfit or something. And they would just say you're unfit because you didn't, you know, it was the law. They had to have some legal reason, so they say, well, you get something on you or whatever. If nothing else, they just say, well, because you don't love your kid, because you won't give them the thing, don't eat the flowers. You smelling them? You just smelling them? Okay. Yes, he's just smelling them. Smell good, Dad. Yeah, they do. Okay, now there's a little cave of some kind. A bar cave. A varmint cave. And so, if they gave those things we shall keep, and they will be nameless throughout this video, and remain nameless to protect the innocent, or to protect the guilty, and do the best we can at trying to protect the innocent, but we're required by law to protect the guilty first. So I have to do that, because otherwise, you know, Ein Führer will be very, very angry. So if they did that and there was no reason for it, or they lied about its efficiency, I mean, first of all, I'll tell you a secret. You don't have to believe me, but there never was any such thing as those things. Those, what we call them, discomforts that they claimed all the kids got as soon as they entered the 6 years old, or the first grade, or as soon as they got their, you know, compliance, you know, confirmed on that little card, they ended up coming down with this. And it's just like, that's why we're giving them that, because look, the kid came down with, what was it, who was it, Biden said there was a quote of him saying, oh, these things work, don't you worry, if you get them, then you'll be fine. And then what was, like, next month he came down with the thing, and he said, oh, well, yeah, but it'll be like so Meyer, I'll be able to get through it now. It's you know, it made so it's not as bad. So then we find out the truth, and that is that most of the people that DIED'd were seniors who had the thing. And quite a few of the others that DID'd had the thing, and they were younger. And most, if not all of the people that didn't get, you know, or didn't comply or whatever, well, I want to see that too over there. But I really want to see this first, but I kind of wanted to see, just follow the whole bluff line there. That'd be neat. It went a different direction on me and I lost it. Tempting just to go that way though, because it kind of goes around, I guess. And we could just go straight over to the big cliffs, but I want to take our time gradually along the side here. So what were they doing? What are those things that have those discomforts that we got that the children might or may not have, you know, allegedly received? Well, they were a reaction. They weren't any clinical discomfort. They were just a reaction to the pharma. We'll put it that way. It's called sorcery in the book of Revelation. But the reaction was on your butt cheeks and your arms and wherever, you'd get a reaction. I better not talk too much more about that. What I wanted to tell you though is that there might be a few people awake now since the epidemic or whatever. But that's a little bit late, I think. It's almost too late. You guys you didn't wake up fast enough. You think it just started 60 years ago. What was it? When did they start this? Back when my dad was a child going through grammar school? Before that? You remember the whole polio thing? I've told you guys before, I can prove to you. I'm not going to do it now today. We've gone over it and over it. I have absolute living proof that that was an HOA. With the additional letter that you probably already know. It did not, they changed the definition of that polio to meningitis in the doctor's dictionary book. In this medical cures and treatments for all things. Sorcery. In their little sorcery book, they changed the definition of polio, or the name, the designation, clinical designation to meningitis. So then everybody started dying of meningitis. And they said they cured polio, you know, whatever the thing was. What all that other thing was a lot of stuff like maybe kids that were born with a twisted spine or whatever. And they just call it that. You know, if you ever had a cold or a fever, they would claim that's what caused it. I don't know. We had for years the whole March of Dimes and all that stuff going on. This big HOA with the other letter, and it's been going on for a long time. And then the kids were all forced into schools to get, you know, they couldn't, you had to go to, you know, file in to get your programming. And you say, oh, that was just education, Dave. Remember when they were talking about sex ed? That's all we were talking about, sex ed. They've been trying this for years. And now they're showing penthouse magazines to little children in the 4th grade. Yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and go that way over to the big cliffs. Go around here. So what were they putting in there? Well, Mrs. Mikovits, who was the creator of some of this, says it's CAN. It's that sign in the sky up in summer. That crab looking thing. Well, the crab looking thing is what they call, you know, cancer. In the sky, it's a little crab. Why? Because that little crab is a bug and that's what causes it. It's a parasite. So yeah, Parasites are very bad, and there are such a thing as a parasite, but the devil is not the parasite. The devil gives us pain. The nature of the animals, and all the animals, the nature of a parasite is to kill. So in that sense, it's satanic, but the devil exists. He's a fallen angel, and he's got some demonic hordes. They're real. But yeah, they invented this thing, and the one they come out with recently, we won't even name it, the last one that scared everybody. If you listen to some of the programs out there that have been investigating this, it's a snake venom. Yeah, synthesized, of course, in a lab. That's part of the reason why they're getting rid of the Ukraine. There were some labs up there. They could do any kind of illegal thing there, and then because they knew they were going to just destroy it afterwards. But it wasn't just LABs that were over there in the Ukraine. They got records of their, what would you say, under the table dealings with the Democrats and some of the Republicans, like Romney and the leader of the Senate and so forth, Pelosi and all the others. She's over the Congress, but both of them, the one over the Senate too. Oh, it's so beautiful here, guys. Wow. So, Tucker Carlson's telling us the truth now on the pharma. You know why? I'm going to tell you something. This is going to blow your mind. You should probably sit down. They told Saudi Arabia that they could have all the oil just before they got rid of all the oil. There will not be any more driving of your car very soon. They're going to have 15-minute cities. They're going to be blocking off roads. You won't be able to go down the road within months. This is already happening in many cities. Trial runs around the country, around the world. It's coming here, theater near you, soon. I guarantee it. You better prepare now. You get you some place to go, some property like I have here. You can look, like I said, in Grants and Gallup and look at through some real estate and see if you can get some property near Candy Kitchen or El Mora or whatever out here. It's the most beautiful place in the world. And there's nobody but us chickens out here, as you can see. And if there's any way we might be able to get through this, remember, they're not going to force you. They're just going to intimidate you and make it so difficult that if you live in the cities, you'll have to comply to eat. But if you're out here and you've got food and you can hunt and fish and get your own chickens and stuff and you have your own land, you know, you need to pay for it cash. Whatever money you got, take it out and buy some property right now and go. I'm telling you, it's going to be weeks or months. You don't have no time. So, within weeks or months, you won't have any more cash. You'll be monitored when you go to the store. It'll start off slow, then pretty soon they'll start restricting your account so you can't buy any meat or milk or things. You won't be able to buy anything if you don't get your, thing. And the only reason they're telling you now, why Tucker's telling you, remember his dad worked with the CIA. You guys think he's turned a new leaf. This is not what's happening. This is an experiment on the people. They're trying to see whether people will be stupid enough to go ahead and comply with something without being literally forced at the gunpoint or in the guillotine. They're not bringing guillotines out. They're just trying to intimidate you. Will you give us your child? Will you worship us? Just do whatever we say and worship what we do and say. And don't speak about it. Don't tell anybody. but comply. And if you'll do that, we'll give you something that you know darn good and well probably kill you. But I think they have to tell the truth. So, because they're about ready to do something, and the truth is going to go out there, but there's so much deception that you guys will end up doing it anyway, even though you've been told. But here's what's happening. You can go to the internet right now. It's called deagle.com. If I'm wrong about the pronunciation or whatever, I'll put something in the info box below. I'll even put a link to it if I can. According to this website, which is accredited and it's, you know, legit and everything, and of course nobody's talking about it, nobody's refuting it, nor are they confirming it, but you know, on NBC or ABC or Fox or anywhere else. This is what it says. They've done these studies. This is a military site. They analyze military budgets around the world and countries and things, and they're very legit. And they're saying that by 2025, friends, that's 2 years, 2.5 years, 80% of the world population will be gone, including mostly in America and Europe, is what they're saying. Like in every country, like over 60% or something, but like 70% in some countries. But like the United States and Europe, a lot of countries there, Australia, Canada, and stuff like that, it's going to be over 80% of the population gone. So maybe even, yeah, it was like about 80. So they think about 81 or 80, something like that, percent worldwide, but that's just their guess. But here's what they're not telling you. They know that when that happens, everybody else will leave, will fall. Because you see, 80% of the population, what does that mean? Well, if it just means only the cities, then the people that are in the country will survive. And that is that 20%? Well, wouldn't be for India, because there's nobody in the country in India or London. I mean, there's a little island, right? They claim that the population of all the major countries are going to be gone. And nobody's batting an eyelash. 2025, 2.5 years. Now that means between now and then, 2.5 years, depending on how many weeks or months it takes to start the process. Most of you that I'm speaking to now, except for hopefully my subscribers know better, but most of all the rest of you will be gone. So I'll just say goodbye now. I'm not being facetious. I love all of you. But I am only being honest. And this may be the last time we have the chance to say goodbye. If you refuse to prepare and prepare now and get out of the cities, I'm afraid within 2.5 years you'll probably be gone. But as I was saying, that means that 100%, except for the 144,000, is what the Bible says. Out of all the 8 billion people, only 144,000 is going to make it. So their 80% is gone. And now you got 20% left. There's a smaller little canyon up through here. I want to go back down around that way. I went this way. I don't think I want to go this way, do I? Maybe I do. So let's say that those 80% of people die. Well, who are those 80%? Truck drivers, airplane pilots, people that work at ExxonMobil, whatever, the energy companies, the solar companies, the food companies, the tractor companies, the car companies, all the people at Tesla, the engineers. And the Bible says even the elite. They'll say, oh, fall on us, all the rocks, and we'll hide in the caves. They go down in their little bunkers, but you know, the light's going to get to them. They're going to be gone. They ain't going to make it. Because when all those tractor drivers and truck drivers are gone, and the mechanics and the plumbers, then Walmart stops working. They can't fix the toilet. They can't repair the electrical. They can't, there's nobody to turn on the electricity. There's no refrigeration. So all of it spoils. The trucks stop moving. There's no more groceries. If 80% of the population dies in 2 years, they won't be able to bury them all. There'll be disease that follows, and famine first, and then disease. And disease like you have never, ever, ever imagined. Some of which may be synthetic. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a ball of resin, pine resin, that came off this tree. I'm taking that with me. It is. That's neat. So, no food goes to the market. People starve, bodies pile up, disease begins, famine, pestilence. The rest of the world will be gone. And we haven't even got to the hurricanes and the earthquakes and the tsunamis. We haven't even got to that. I'm not even sure this is where I wanted to go. But it's a nice spot. It's pretty. Let's go down through here. We're going to jump down here. So, like I said, 2028 is the end of everything. Oops. By that time, the plagues and the death starts in probably, I don't know, 2025 or 24. They just said that by 2025, 80% of the population is gone. They could be wrong. They could be misleading us. It might not be until the year after that or the year after that. But when you start seeing the implementation that these guys are doing, all these things that they're doing quickly, fast. They're rolling out these reverse ATM machines like now, pronto. Control, control, control. Intimidation, forcing us to do certain things. It'll cause once you have a crack in the ecology, things start crumbling, everything falls. You can't save it. Mother Nature goes into purge mode. Tidal waves and earthquakes begin. I think the elite know that there's a certain time appointed for all of this, and they're just trying to get a head start on it so that they might somehow live through it, but we'll all die. Because if we're all gone, there'll be more food for them, and they can take all the bunkers and all the resources and everything. But we're not going to let them do that to us. For those who don't believe me or aren't going to do anything about it, then, at least I would say this. For right now, get on your knees and start praying. Like every day, every night for hours. And asking the Lord for a pure heart and for discernment. Oh, man, it's kind of steep, slick. Ooh, buddy. Marijuana? Nope. You're dreaming. And there's something else that I want to do a video on this here pretty soon. About the herbs that are for the healing of the nations. You know, I've been telling you guys this for a long time. That's what the herbs are for. They're not for eating. They're not for feeding the body. We live in a birth, just rebirth, and things die, and this is the old religion because we're in the old world. And Jesus taught us to eat fish. It's a little bit of a higher, you know, way than some others, but definitely he taught to eat eggs and milk and fish, and the apostles said that if we don't eat meat we might get weak. But ooh, buddy, look at this. I'm gonna squeeze through here. Oh. Oh. That cave goes back in there a little ways. Well, like I've been saying, in the garden we weren't, you know, we wouldn't eat meat because that's death and everything lived forever and all the animals and everything. But their nature was different. And we can raise our vibration as humans to a higher nature than what we live on now. We feed off of things. The energy that we feed off of is the energy we're going to be putting out. So we're all depressed because we're eating sugar, carbs, and garbage like that. Not natural. Chemicals and, you know, DuPont and Monsanto and Pfizer and all these other things. And that's why we're depressed and sick and dying mentally. Physically, it's because they've been feeding us carbs and stuff too. They don't break down and burn correctly, and the body gets very unhealthy. But then there's all these sorceries. So you see, originally we had these plants. Now, we were spiritual beings. We didn't have this carnal flesh, so we didn't need the carnal food. But what we needed is to have the pure energy. So that we could give off that energy, mental energy, a higher feeding, and it's a healing. So remember what I said, that you shall be raised with healing in its wings. Why does it have wings? Well, that's the phoenix bird. That's that serpent, the body that gets wings. Remember, the original serpent didn't go on his belly. He was cursed to eat dust and go on his belly. That serpent was cursed to hell. That was Jesus. He went to hell and came up out of there with wings, with healing in his wings. Asclepius that we were talking about the other day, the little, you know, on the medicine, they have the symbol for medicine. It's that little staff and the tree of life, basically. And up that tree is the serpent going up, and it has wings, healing in its wings. So it's not the serpent of the lower nature, it's the serpent that's overcome and raised up the physical carnal body into a spiritual body. Well, getting pretty rocky. I'm afraid I'm gonna... So, when you're mental, you don't need protein. That's not what to heal your mind, that's what this kind of healing is. This ascending with wings. Which, once you ascend, the physical body's transformed in the twinkling of an eye. But you have to get your mind, you have to go up in the upper room. You have to go into higher realms, higher consciousness. You have to raise your vibration. So, that's not done with the carnal food. That's not done with animal flesh. That meal, we talked about that yesterday, the Passover. That's the dead corpse that we eat, just to sustain this dead body that we walk around in, this corpse. It feeds off that death. But, whoa, guys, look at that. You see that on the rock? It looks like it's a shadow. A shadow does not reflect in a language. First of all, look at that. I recognize that as looks like a paragraph of characters, some which appear to be numbers, but I do recognize that as something approaching Canaanite, Ugaritic, ancient Hebrew, Phoenician. That is an ancient writing, and it wasn't written in spray paint. It was only there because it's a shadow. The sun was coming through a tree and producing those shadows into an absolute exact language. So I'm going to go back and decipher what the language is and interpret it. And by the way, I have some information that I'm going to be doing in another video coming up here soon about taking the Book of Enoch and the first chapter and speaking it into a recorder and then running it backwards, and you will blow your freaking mind when you find out what it says. It talks about Nibiru and the people and how some stuff that you cannot even, I don't want to get in here today, but the Holy Scriptures can be played backwards. I was hearing somebody the other day talking about the star. Well, somebody was telling me they thought that the stars are like little points, and they wondered what it would be like if you would put it on a stenograph or whatever, like a record, and you would, every time and rotate it, and every one of the stars would bing on this little piece of metal as they would go by, and what kind of a music would it make? And after I heard that, then I heard Jordan Peterson's showing a graph of all the biblical verses in the Bible, and some of them were in yellow, some in red, some green, some blue, and depending on whatever color they were placed in was the number of times that they were connected to another scripture. And so if they were a certain way up here, purple or something, that meant that they had 15 connections to other verses, that they spoke of another verse or referred to another verse of the Bible. They all were interconnected like a computer, like a concordance, linking every verse to the other verses. And it literally like strong concordance, but it's just by color, and that shows that the Bible itself is not only divinely inspired by higher intelligence, that no accident or various prophets spanning thousands of years all
writing at different times, not even knowing that they were going to write a book that's going to be in another book with the other people's books. You know, they didn't even know. Some of these prophets didn't know the other people. They'd never heard the other person's prophecy, but they prophesied independently, and it all comes out. And there's these people from like Jeremiah and Daniel is somehow talking about things that John the Revelator incorporates into this other book, and it's all correlated. That is what I always saw when I looked at the Bible, why I knew, even as a young man, that the Bible was the truth. The Bible was inspired. I knew that. Like, you could never, if you ask me why, it would be like, because it's so beautiful, and it's big, and it said it is, and, no, I don't know. But, you would say, because I read it, and it makes sense, but you couldn't convey to people that, it's not just that it makes sense, it's just that your mind knows the complexity of it. It's like listening to a symphony and knowing that that's the best doggone music you've ever heard. It lifted you up to the skies. It was emotional. It was what is good, what people consider interesting and enlightening, and yes, especially uplifting. That's an amazing word we don't use very often anymore. But anyway, I'm taking quite a bit extra time. I'm in the middle of this video to tell you this because I am absolutely flabbergasted. I did not know that when I was walking by that rock. But now that I go back and I see that, there's no question in mind that's a language. And that it would be literally impossible for shadows to shine down randomly and produce language. It would have to have been a divine miracle for all of you, by the way, to have seen. So we'll discuss down the road what this might mean, and we'll investigate and interpret, and we'll actually read what this says. All right? Let's get back to the video here. For as long as it's here, until it goes back into rebirth, it's a holy ritual. It's a temporary world. It's a initiation process. Don't be afraid. Okay? Because everything that dies goes back to a higher place soon. So if you... Oh, man. I couldn't get through that brush. But the herbs were never given to humans. They were given to animals. The vegetation. To eat. Why? Because the body needs protein and cholesterol and stuff like that. That's in meat, butter, and eggs. But now we're not talking about this carnal body. We're talking about the healing of the mind, the ascending of the mind, the esoteric rising of your being. That requires the herbs. But the herbs have special properties, and we don't know what they are. It's a secret. This one has to be cooked in boiling water. This one has to be cooked in oil. That one has to be dried in the sun. Sometimes it requires this plant and one that grows right next to it to be smoked together. There's different combinations. And each plant, there's many more than what we are told that have this healing in them. So this goes along with what Tucker was saying. He's saying that these people don't have a chemical imbalance that way. However, people are sad and anxious and depressed. There's various reasons for that. We live in a depressed and anxious world. But as I said, we humans can channel. We don't have to dwell in that realm. Only reason we're here is because we keep dwelling on it. We keep staying here. Because they've taken away the energy that we can live on. The higher energy, which is in the herbs. The healing is in the herbs. And they require some sort of processing. Cooking, usually, reaching a certain temperature. So there's a lot of plants that would be very hallucinogenic or something. Or healing, or calming, or like aspirin, or takes away pain, whether it be physical or spiritual, or mental, emotional pain. Lots of different, each plant has its purpose. Treat wounds, But the knowledge of that was called a high, like a shaman, someone who was a seer and who knew higher truths. And they had these mysteries, and they had the knowledge of the medicine man, or the man who knew the healing man, the healers. In fact, that's what the therapeutai, the therapeutai was what the original Essenes were called down in Egypt. They were healers. And the Greeks called them physicians. And they took the Hippocratic Oath, and they didn't use chemicals, they only used natural herbs. But that's all changed. The doctors don't even take or go by the Hippocratic Oath. I don't even think they take it anymore. They don't care. They commit abortion, they kill, they maim, and they use chemicals, and they don't use the natural herbs because they don't know how. They don't know how. What they've done is the devil knew how, and he made laws against the partaking of these herbs. So we all, for thousands of years, forgot all this, and all the books were burned. So we don't know how to use any of these. We learned a couple of them by accident. We still have cannabis and, psilocybin mushrooms and a few things. But, we've discovered a few things. But there's just literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands. I mean, every plant has its use. And we don't have this knowledge anymore. So we have to go to them. Well, they say, we'll take away the knowledge from the peasants. And we'll teach it to these priests, but they'll be evil priests. They'll sell it to you for money. They'll have it over on you. And if you want to be happy, well, we'll give you drugs, but synthetic ones that won't really make you happy, but just make you addicted and dying. And then we can make more money off of more drugs. And it's just a big scam. And so they don't even know what these drugs do anymore. It's some sort of cult. They don't even know how. They don't really understand. The devil does. And he's made these synthetic drugs that actually kill you rather than help you. But they do take away pain sometimes. And so and the illusion, the mesmerism of all the people telling you and forcing you to do it is part of the problem. Well, I don't think I'm going to go any further. This goes on and on and on for miles and miles and miles and miles. So I'll start going back over there where I came, because now I don't think there's a shortcut. I don't think there's a shortcut home. I think I got to go the same way I came. So, the knowledge of these herbs. So what I'm telling you is, for one thing, they've told you don't do drugs. Right? We were taught that. Don't do drugs, that's evil, right? And remember before the whole thing about cannabis came out? They only allow alcohol because that puts people to sleep, makes them violent, and they can arrest them. Doesn't make them peaceful or happy. Doesn't cure them, makes it worse. Remember, wine is what Jesus drank as a bitter herb, or for pain, for death. They offered him wine on the cross to take away the pain. But it's to put you to sleep, deaden it. It's death. The herbs, though, that's for a purpose, right? There's a purpose in sleep drugs and pain drugs and stuff, but that's all we're allowed. And the good ones, like, I don't know, the ones that really make you happy and high, they told you don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. It'll kill you. And they show you people on the street dying of drugs, but those people on the street flipping around dying from taking drugs aren't really taking herbs. They're taking synthetic chemicals like fentanyl. I think it was Tucker Carlson that said that on this show he had proof. I'll put the link to that program in the. Watch it, guys. Because even if Tucker's not telling us, or even if the only reason he's telling us is because they're allowing us to know this before we all die, just to kind of rub it in our face. Well, at least it's good to know. And you should look at it, because I still think there's time. Regardless of what the CIA or the elite think. They think that you won't respond. You won't wake up in time. Maybe Jesus forced them to tell you before they do this thing in 2025. So they're being required by the Lord to tell you the truth.
And then you just got to make your own mind up. You better watch it and make up your mind in soberness. But the reason then that we're not happy, you say, why is it we all got this chemical imbalance? Well, it's not a chemical imbalance. There's nothing wrong with our bodies. It's just we're not eating the right foods. Neither are we eating the right foods to heal our bodies. A perfect, complete protein that you find in meat or eggs or animal product. And a complete cholesterol. If you don't have the complete, you're going to eventually, your heart's going to stop running because it has to repair itself. The mind, the brain, everything. But since they've kept these natural herbs from us, which keep our minds in this place of higher consciousness. See, there are drugs, there are plants that are almost like portals into the world of spirit, the higher world, where you can go and, I mean, I've told you guys about the one that's in all the pictures, like the fairy tale pictures, the Amanita muscaria, and I partook of that. You partake of that. Before you do it, you say a prayer and you ask the Lord for whatever it is that you're asking. And they'll take you to the elders. And you'll be surrounded by the elders and you can ask anything you want. And they'll give it to you. But you have to go through this real difficult phase where you have to be confronted with all your worries and fears. It's quite an experience, but it's a healing process beyond a doubt. Once I got through it, I met Mary, and she gave me some gifts, and it's amazing. And the biggest gift is the knowledge of the door, the knowledge of the higher energy, that we have to feed on positive energy. We always will. The angels still feed. They feed off of each other. This is what love is, the sharing of energy. But the higher energy, love, light, is so small. The little particles, little photons are so small. They haven't coalesced into this material form. So you get in its purest form through love. But we're not going to be able to attain unto that in a day. But what we can do is we can start partaking of these little phytochemicals that were put here for this body, for this time, for a reason, to heal us. And during the millennial, we'll eat fish for the body. It tells you that in Ezekiel. And the herbs will be for the healing of the nations. It'll take 1,000 years to heal everybody. But everybody's going to be healed. And we'll have the at-one-ment by the end of 1,000 years. And the New Jerusalem come down out of heaven, adorned as a bride for her husband. Well, guys, I'm going to start walking a little quicker because I've got to get all the way up top of the ridge, all the way along that ridge. On the other side, a different ridge, I think, can come down to my place. I'm on my way back, and I saw this. Oh. And I just thought it was kind of pretty, and I forgot to tell you something. So, last night was supposed to be on Caravan to midnight, from 9:30 to 11 p.m. Central Time. The John B. Wells program used to host Coast to Coast. Now he's got his own, like, #1 show on radio or something. anyway, there was a mistake that was made, and I got shuffled in the wrong something or other, and I didn't go on. They didn't. They had a misscheduling, so I had to be rescheduled.
All right. I'm going to be on tonight. Same time. It's 9:30 to 11 p.m. Central Time. And so tune in tonight. I will be there tonight. They rescheduled me for tonight. So sorry about the mix-up. Please watch and tune in tonight on the Caravan to Midnight with John B. Wells. It's on most of the stations out there. You know, just get to your radio and try to tune in to Caravan to Midnight.
Oh, that dog's having a hard time even getting up there. I don't go that way. How do I get across? I gotta go down here. Look what I found. Remember I was telling you about how most of the rocks are just sandstone, but you come across these harder rocks, like it must be volcanic. You know, they're melted. You know, this is volcanic rock. It's not meteorites, it's some kind of volcanic rocks coming out of that volcano over there. There's not a lot of it right in here, but there's some. It's not. This is not sandstone. Boy, look at the elk poo. Ooh, look at this. Boy, the elk like to come over here and look off this cliff too, don't they? So there's the volcano. It shot big volcanic rocks clear over here. And for miles and miles around that area is all volcanic rock anyway. The whole area of it, but there's just a bit of it over here, I guess. Holes. Some of these holes are caused from water eating away, corroding a hole, and you can come up here after it rains and these are filled with water. But there are some of these holes where natives would come over here and grind their grain and stuff on a rock, and we'd have holes. We just grind it down. All right. Keep on trucking.
So guys, before I go, I just want to tell you, there's no more time, and time is up. So please consider getting out of the cities immediately. I don't mean next week, I mean now. I mean tonight. Get on your phone and go to eBay or some real estate agent or somewhere and get a piece of land. I don't care if it's in the middle of a desert somewhere, for $1,000. You take all your savings and get it and go out there. Be ready. Have one foot out the door. Be all packed and ready to go. Start buying some dry beans and rice. Make sure you have a firearm for hunting, or a bow, or pocket knife, hatchet. All the things that you're going to be needing. Store up some food. You're going to need it. Please consider this warning prayerfully. I love you guys, especially all the people that I know and all my friends here on my channel, and my subscribers and my family, any of my family members that may from time to time watch this. I don't know if you're there or not, but I love you guys so much. I don't know if you're going to get to see this. Some of my family I can't contact because you're not talking to me, but hopefully maybe you've snuck a little looky, see over here on this channel sometimes, and if you have, then I hope that you're watching this one today, because the time is now. We got to get out of the world, guys, completely. Not in Jehovah's Witness organization, but we have to prayerfully get on our knees and talk to Jesus. So if you're not willing to go now, this minute, today, I see, but something's stirring in you, at least get on your knees and start praying tonight for hours a day. Maybe set aside a few days to fast and pray about this, and start looking this information up to confirm to yourself that this is going to happen. And the only way to survive for you and your family is to get out now. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. Jesus loves you so very much. He wants you. He wants you saved. We'll see you guys. Lord bless you. Oh my goodness. Look at the sunset. Tussa. Tonight is what I meant to say. Oh my. Whoa. That's awesome. Wow. That is so pretty. Look at this. I just saw this. This is amazing. Okay, so there's all these little stars, little golden, like greenish golden pine cones, almost like little star flowers all over this. But what's really weird is there's also bigger ones. And then there's this big flower right in the middle or something with these little sprouts, and oh man, it's just like right on the ends there's these big pine cones, bigger ones coming on, and these little flowers. I've never seen pine trees do this, but in the middle it's all these little golden corn cobs, So neat. Wow. So beautiful. And then there's the moon. Yeah, there you go.
almost focused. Right there. Huh, pretty good, huh? Oh, let's take a look at this. Sunset was just brilliant and beautiful for just a minute. And, huh. You can barely see that big old mountain in the background. Wow. Whoa. All right, guys. Have a good one.